This little guy took over the internet.
Nerd cluster gummies.
And the Super Bowl. And the Kelsey brothers.
I'm going all in.
But more importantly, he is making boatloads of cash.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
And to be honest, I'm kind of confused. Evidently, nerds are back. The same nerds that I would spill on my parents' carpet in between games of Pokemon and Bop It. A candy that's been around since the 80s is now doing $500 million in revenue 41 years later, seemingly out of nowhere. Is this all just dumb luck? Or are the nerds at nerds just really smart? I have no idea, but I am going to find out. This video is sponsored by Walmart Marketplace, but more on them in a little bit. What is this?
It's a nerd gummy cluster.
This is Joe, resident Gen Z correspondent, and my younger cousin. What do you have to say about this little guy?
They're yummy. They have all the good parts of like a nerd rope, but the convenience of being able to just like pop it in your mouth.
Why do you think this became so big?
Everyone started talking about it during COVID because like nobody had anything else to like do.
Now, Jordana isn't the only Gen Zer absolutely losing their minds over nerds. Admittedly, I've never tried the infamous cluster before today, but here goes. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. To millennials, it might just look like a snipped up nerd's rope. But in reality, this latest innovation by the Ferrero-owned brand has been a crazy success. It is the byproduct of a 41-year history of testing and learning and testing and learning. Nerds is basically a mad scientist lab disguised as a candy company, constantly testing and failing until striking gold. It's 1983 and Nerds are launched by the Willy Wonka Candy Company. They're off to a hot start, winning Candy of the Year in 1985. Impressive, but that's not the real story. In 1985, Nerds launched Nerd Cereal. It's discontinued a year later. A few years later, the company launched Jumbo Nerds and discontinued them too. After several more failed launches like Sour Nerds, Neon Nerds, Dweebs, Nerd Gumballs, and Nerd Blizzards, the company finally had its first big win since the flagship product. In 2001, my favorite childhood snack was invented, and that would be Nerds Rope.
A fruit-flavored gummy rope carefully covered in Nerds.
For the next 2 decades, Nerds kept chugging along, most notably being sold in 2018 by Nestle as part of a $2.8 billion package deal. But here is where things get crazy. In 2019, Nerds drove $50 million in sales. At the time, the company had 3 products: Nerds, Big Chewy Nerds, and Nerds Rope. In 2020, the mad scientists at Nerds ran yet another experiment. This would be the experiment that changed everything. It introduced the now viral Nerd Gummy Clusters. By 2023, Nerd sales had 10x, hitting $500 million, which is now 1/3 of parent company Ferrero's total 2022 revenue. 40 years of testing, failing, and learning, Nerds had finally captured culture. It's clear that this wasn't just dumb luck, but rather a history defined by taking calculated bets. But why was this the calculated bet that changed everything? I'm headed into It's Sugar. It's this massive candy store with 100+ locations. They're officially a partner of Nerds, and apparently they've been selling out of gummy clusters for months. So I'm about to talk to one of their executives about what's been happening. Have you met a single person who does not like gummy clusters?
I have not.
When you think about if there was like a moment in time that caused sales to just go crazy for this product.
Obviously launched middle pandemic, right? And I think that was a big thing. People are home, people are enjoying and indulging in themselves. Early 2021, huge media, social media went out about it. And I think there's just some huge influencers that spiked it.
These Nerds gummy clusters, this is next level.
You know we love some Nerds. They're individual crunches.
Oh, it was so good.
And I think from there, the brand just built on it and just really catapulted it into a totally different brand.
What is the demographic that's been driving gummy clusters, and why do you think it's hit so big with this demographic?
Yeah, it's definitely driven by Gen Z. They've done a great job of positioning themselves strongly on social. And then you also have that millennial generation that's also then at the bottom feeding up into it as well.
So clearly Gen Z is to thank for Nerds' epic comeback. But it's the way that Nerds has seized this moment that is most impressive. It's created a product that gives young consumers exactly what they're looking for. It's buying ads on the biggest stage that so clearly resonates with my cousin's generation, all while staying true to its roots. But there's a less obvious, more subtle move that I believe is the real genius behind all of this growth. The genius of Nerds is growing to $500 million with variations of one hero product, all without isolating the 30 to 40-year-olds that propelled this brand in the early days.
Ooh, Nerds.
Nerds are always bangers.
Those are so good.
God damn, I could go for some Nerds right now.
Whether or not you're a fan of Nerds, you've got to respect their journey. They have tested ideas and oftentimes failed for more than 40 years, patiently waiting for that one moment that would change everything. And that one moment has finally arrived. A new seller's plans and goals usually boil down to one single desire: getting their product in front of millions of customers. After all, visibility is everything, and that is exactly what Walmart Marketplace can give you. Walmart.com has more than 120 million unique monthly visitors according to ComScore, making Walmart Marketplace one of the fastest growing e-commerce platforms. Now, they want to help sellers bask in that glory. New sellers who join Walmart Marketplace today can save up to 50% off referral and fulfillment fees. Conditions apply. To unlock this deal, gain access to millions of customers, and enjoy the scale of one of the world's largest retailers, go to marketplace.walmart.com/FJ.